in the comments if you guys can hear me, please. That would be greatly appreciated. If not, I don't know what's going on. I see Joseph Aquaviva, much love, brother. Casey Jones, what's up, bro? Can you guys hear me? All right, well, I guess Casey says he can hear me now. Hopefully everyone comes back. I have so much to share. Hopefully everyone comes back. Yeah, I'll just wait for the rest of hopefully all the 110 people that were in here before come back instead of just 3. Why do I only have 3 in the chat now? Are they banning me or are they shadow banning me? What is going on? Okay, thank you guys. Thank you all for coming back. For at least 16 of you came back. All right. We're going to try this again. We're not going to let this stop us. Yeah, I don't know. This is the first video I've done in a long time about Freemasonry, so it seems kind of odd that they shut my sound off. I mean, everything was fine on the back end, guys. My mic was working. There's no reason why the sound should have went out. It had to have been through YouTube, man. It had to have been through YouTube because I checked my mic. I checked to make sure I wasn't muted. Everything was good. And then people were saying they couldn't hear me. So we'll give it another minute, see if some people come back. But thank you, Betty and Brian, JJ Recon, Sandy, We Are Souls, Patrick Curtis. Let's see. Yeah, that kind of messes up my whole rhythm. But luckily, we have sound now, so we'll try this again. Please hit the like button, guys. If there's anything that deserves a like button now, it's this, because obviously YouTube is not wanting people to hear what I have to say. Yeah, so Casey Jones, really? I was born 1440 days after the actor who plays Dud? Wow. Crazy, man. Hey, Cable X. Aaron Smart. Yeah, I changed the original video to private. So if you guys tried to click it, it's just going to show private. So anyways. Hey, Copper Shy, you got hammered because I sent someone in the Ark this message. Really? Crazy. Anyway, sorry for those of you watching this on a replay. I'm sorry, you guys might be wondering what's the heck is he talking about. Well, my stream was shut down the first time I tried this. The sound went out. So I'm trying this again. And for those of you who missed the beginning, I'm going to go over it again. And I'm going to show you how crazy today is connected to this show, Lodge 49, and the Freemasonry's birthday. So let's jump into it. Hopefully everyone comes back. So again, today is the 307th anniversary of Freemasonry. Freemason equals 307, okay? Which is the 63rd prime number. Keep that in mind. Now, one of the sects of Freemasonry is known as the Ancient and Accepted Scottish Rite. Well, Ancient and Accepted Scottish Rite equals 307. Similar to how today is the 307th birthday, and Freemason equals 307 in Jewish or Latin gematria, okay? So those two connections already with Freemason equaling 307, Ancient and Accepted Scottish Rite 307. Now let's talk about this show, right? The show is called Lodge 49. Thank you again for Casey for pointing this out to us a few weeks ago, because without you pointing this out to us, we would have never made this connection. So big shout out to Casey in the chat. So Lodge 49, right? The show. It's obviously named after a lodge, like a Masonic lodge, right? So today's the 307th anniversary of Masonry. And in Gematria, the word Lodge 49, if you add the word Lodge and then you add the number 49 to it, it equals 307. Okay, so Lodge 49 equals 307. Ancient and accepted Scottish Rite 307. Freemason 307. Today's the 307 anniversary. And in the show, the order that he goes and joins is the Order of the Links. And what are the chances that Order of the Links equals Masonic Lodge? 63 in the same cipher. And this is important because connecting to the 307 is the 63rd prime. So you see how this is perfect? This is impossible, right? And again, I'm trying to go through this fast because a lot of you guys already saw this, but remember, just absolutely insane, right? So how many weeks has it been from the release of Lodge 49 to today's 307th birthday of Freemasonry? It's exactly 307 weeks, guys. No extra days. From Lodge 49's first episode to today's 307th anniversary is 307 weeks exactly. Lodge 49, 307. Freemason, 307. I mean, just absolutely insane, right? Give me a thumbs up in the chat if this just blows your mind, guys. And please hit the like button, guys. Let me get those likes back up again. I had so many likes the first time. But this deserves, I think this just this first part of this decode alone, showing how this show is lined up with today's birthday of Freemasonry, deserves a like. So I appreciate those thumbs up a lot. It helps the algorithm. And so, yeah, 307 weeks after the show, Lodge 49, 307, Freemason 307, 307th birthday. Just absolutely insane. And again, most of you guys already saw this part, but I just needed to go over it again for the people who are rewatching the stream. Okay. So what I was talking about when I got shut down was that Chris Benoit, the WWE wrestler, he died on this day in history. He died in June 24th, 2007, exactly 17 years ago. Now, remember, the word Mason equals 17, right? Mason equals 17. Freemasonry was found in 1717. And today is exactly 17 years after Chris Benoit's suicide, okay? This is important because last week, WWE, where he wrestled in his career, they paid tribute to this guy, even though he's a sadistic killer, right? They paid tribute to him, okay, last week in Corpus Christi. I did a whole video about Corpus Christi, and I told you that Chris Benoit, the day before his death, or the day of his death, he was supposed to show up to Corpus Christi. So a week later, on the 307th birthday of Freemasonry, 17 years after he died, Chris Benoit is connected to this, right? Chris Benoit, if you use his name in capitals reverse, Christopher Benoit equals 307. Today is the 307th birthday, right? 17 years ago, he died, okay? And again, Mason equals 17. So, and I already showed you how this whole lodge thing was connected with the 307, right? But what are the chances that Chris Benoit equals 307? Christopher Benoit, okay? And so we're going to talk about why this is interesting, right? So first of all, I want you guys to pay attention to this guy's debut. It was on 11/22/1985. That's the 22nd anniversary of the JFK thing, right? So he debuted on the 22nd anniversary of JFK death, right? Now, he was from Edmonton, Alberta, which I'm going to talk about in a minute. So remember Edmonton, right? We're going to talk about Edmonton a lot. But what I first want to talk about is considering that he debuted, Joseph, hold on a minute. Joseph in the chat, Mad Butcher Shooter was from New Edinburgh, Arkansas equals 307. Ah, so that shooting, yeah, I was looking into that. That shooting's hugely connected to the bridge collapse. But Joseph is saying in the chat, let me bring up his comment because this is huge. Just a few days ago, we had the shooting in New Edinburgh, Arkansas, right? So let me just bring that up so you guys can read it. Thank you, Joseph, for shedding light on that 307. So Joseph says the Mad Butcher shooter was from New Edinburgh, Arkansas. Now, New Edinburgh also reminds me of Scotland. Remember the Scottish Rite? Remember how 5 days before, or just last week, WWE had a show in Scotland, right? Lots of Scotland connections. The first game of the Euros was on Trump's birthday, Scotland versus Germany, right? But anyway, Joseph says that New Edinburgh, Arkansas equals 307. It was 307 days from Bill Clinton's birthday. So there you go, guys. 307 days. The shooting the other day was from Bill Clinton's birthday. And now we have the 307th birthday of Freemasonry a few days after that. And again, this is all connected to this 307, right? So perfect. Thank you, Joseph. I really appreciate you sharing that. And it was 44 days before, 44 weeks after the governor's birthday. Shooting equals 44. It was 44 days before Barack Obama's birthday. Barack Obama was the 44th president, right? So it was all perfect, right? I'll share more of your comments once I get done with the presentation. So anyways, Chris Benoit, who died on today 17 years ago, he was he debuted on JFK's death date, 11/22/1985. He was known for taking the sharpshooter move from the Hart family, Bret Hart. If you guys are wrestling fans, you might know Bret Hart, Owen Hart, Big Stu Hart, all these people part of the Hart family dungeon, right? He adopted the sharpshooter. Now, why is this interesting? Sharpshooter is connected to JFK, right? Well, this guy debuted on JFK's death date, and his move, the sharpshooter, equals 63 in 2 ciphers. So this is the 307th prime. And again, today is the 307th birthday of Freemasonry. He died exactly 17 years ago, right? And his name, Christopher Benoit, equals 307. Well, again, 307 is the 63rd prime. JFK was sharpshooted in 63. You guys get it? JFK got taken out in 63, and he got taken out by a supposed shooter, and sharpshooter equals 63, okay? So, again, this ties in perfectly with, the whole thing. So, Joseph says the Illuminati equals 63, okay? Yeah, I forgot that one. So what are the chances, guys, that on today, on Chris Benoit's, the Edmonton kid's birthday, and again, big shout out to Gematrinator, big shout out to Maka, who I know of. He might still be in the chat. A lot of people sharing these connections with me. But today is the Edmonton kid's death anniversary, and his team, the only American national team, okay, the only team in America's sports that's from Edmonton is the Edmonton Oilers. So on the day of Chris Benoit's death anniversary, who was from Edmonton, Alberta, the Edmonton Oilers can become Stanley Cup champions on his anniversary, which is crazy. I'm not saying they are going to, but it seems pretty interesting. Now, remember, the Florida Panthers, they were up 3-0 in this series. Remember, you have to win. It's the first team to win 4 games, best out of 7, right? So the first team to win 4 games. So yes, the word mogul equals 307. Thank you for sharing that. I knew that, but mogul is Trump's code name, Secret Service code name, and mogul equals 307. So yeah, thank you for pointing that out. But anyways, so today is the Edmonton Oilers can win the Stanley Cup Finals on the anniversary of the Edmonton kid's death. Okay. Benoit's hometown. And look at this. Do you notice that Oilers equals, I spelled Oilers wrong, guys. Sorry. But it's still spelled right. It's just the I and the L are mixed up. But notice that Oilers is a 3-cipher match to Masonry. And again, he died on Masonry's birthday. Today, the Oilers can become Stanley Cup champions on Masonry's birthday. And look, the series is tied 3-3, right? 3-3, right? Like Masonry equals 33. Oilers equals 33. Okay, so perfect. And of course, the ancient accepted Scottish Rite, the 33rd degree, is in Freemasonry, right? Right here. So You have all this connection with the 33, the Masonry, Chris Benoit, Edmonton, right? I do want to point out, connecting to the 307, Edmonton, let me just show you guys. Edmonton equals 37, okay? So the number 307, remember today is the 307th anniversary of Masonry, but Edmonton equals 37, which again, in numerology, 307 is actually 37, okay, which is the 12th prime. But I think that's another clue that Edmonton equals 37. They could possibly win the Stanley Cup on the 307th anniversary of Masonry, right? So, yeah, I just wanted to point that out, just to add to the decode. But anyway, what a perfect script. Oilers can win. Maybe they lose, guys. Maybe because it represents who. I'm not saying 100% that the Oilers win, but I'm just saying it seems likely because of the connection. But Florida is where Trump's from. And remember, who just died in Florida? Do you guys know who just died in Florida? Oh, yeah, it was Donald Sutherland just died in Florida, in Miami, where the Florida Panthers are from. And Donald Sutherland was from Canada. You guys see this? Donald Sutherland was from Canada. He wasn't from Edmonton, but he was from Canada. He died in Florida. Okay, so this is all connected to the death of, in my opinion, this is connected to the death of Donald Sutherland. Okay, and think about it. The Florida Panthers are like the southern land, where the sun is. The Oilers are the north, right? Way north compared to Florida, right? So it's something there with that north-south stuff. But again, let's just, why did Christopher, his real name was Christopher Benoit. Why did Christopher die on Freemasonry's birthday? Well, it's interesting. Maybe this is just a coincidence. I don't know. But it's interesting that Christopher is a 3 out of 4 cipher match to Freemasonry. Okay. So his name being Christopher, he dies on Freemasonry's birthday. Doesn't seem like a coincidence to me. And this is where we're going to get into everything else that's happened this month. Remember, I started out this month by talking about the Revelation 12 sign. Remember, on June 3rd, June 4th, 1769, there was a Venus transit and a solar eclipse. And this was symbolic of the Revelation 12 sign, which says, "And then there appeared a great wonder in heaven, a woman clothed with the sun and a moon under her feet, and upon her head a crown of 12 stars." Okay. So this, again, was something I talked about in the beginning of the month. Okay. And we're going to rehash this now and connect it to today. So just remember, June 3rd, June 4th, 1769, just a few years before the United States was founded. You had this Revelation 12 sign where you had Venus, the morning star, you had the moon under her feet right here, clothed with the sun, right? And remember, on June 2nd, on the eve of the anniversary of this Venus transit Revelation 12, you had Claudia Sheinbaum being elected as the first woman president in Mexico's history. Okay. And so that means that Claudia Sheinbaum became the first female Mexican president exactly 255 years after the Revelation 12 Venus transit sign right here. Now, remember, I talked about in my video connected to Donald Sutherland and Donald Trump, the Venus rose, right? This is all about the rose. Okay. Because Venus makes the five-fold rose in the sky. Okay. So rose equals 255. 255 years after the Venus transit, and Venus makes the rose, was Claudia Sheinbaum. Now, Claudia Sheinbaum's birthday, she was elected on 6/2, the 255th anniversary of the Venus transit. But her birthday is June 24th, guys. June 24th. Today is her birthday. Okay. So she just got elected, and now she's born on Freemasonry's birthday. Okay. Now, I have to bring this up because we're talking about Venus and the Venus rose, right? So look at this crazy connection, guys. You cannot tell me this is not insane. from the sign in the sky, the Venus transit and the eclipse on June 3rd, 1769 is supposed to be written here. June 3rd, 1769, to the birth of Queen Elizabeth was exactly 255 Venus orbits or Venus years. Can you guys believe it? Exactly 255, no extra days. Okay. That is insane because the word rose equals 255. And again, this all connects back to Claudia Scheinbaum, who was elected the first woman president on the 255th Earth year of this sign. So 255 Earth years after this sign, you have Claudia Scheinbaum. And 255 Venus years after this sign, you have the exact birth of Queen Elizabeth. Now, Scheinbaum was elected on the day Queen Elizabeth was coronated. So do you guys understand this? Queen Elizabeth was coronated on June 2nd, 1953. Scheinbaum was elected woman president exactly 71 years later on June 2nd. So these two are intimately connected because both of them are connected with the same day, June 2nd. Queen Elizabeth's coronation, June 2nd, 1953. Claudia Scheinbaum wins the first woman presidency, June 2nd, 2024. Okay. Now, remember, 255 years exactly from this Venus transit to the birth of Queen Elizabeth, rose 255. Remember, Venus makes a 13-8 ratio in the sky. This is the number 138. Okay. I did a whole video, my last video was all about the 138 and the Venus rose and Donald Trump, right? So look, Venus rose 138, rose of Venus 138. What are the chances that the name of this woman is Claudia, which equals 138? Okay. Again, Venus, a 13-8 ratio, making the pentagram, the rose in the sky. Okay. And today is her birthday, Freemasonry. Now, how does this connect to Chris Benoit, whose death anniversary is today, which is also her birthday? Okay. So her birthday is also Chris Benoit's death day. Look at this. Christopher Michael Benoit, 255, guys. Just like it was 255 years from the Venus transit to Queen's birth, and it was 255 Earth years from the transit to Claudia Scheinbaum's election. And now her first birthday after she's elected is Chris Benoit's birthday and Christopher Michael Benoit, 255. So again, she was elected on 6/2/2024, the eve of the 255th anniversary of the Venus transit, Revelation 12 sign. Okay. And now on her birthday is the death anniversary of this guy. Okay. And yeah, it's lunate. Thank you, Jamachinator, for Derek. It is lunation right now, 12:55, like 255, 1255. So we're even in lunation 1255, right? So it all connects right now. And even my Aleister Crowley research I did a few weeks back or a week back. Remember, the Book of the Law in Latin equals 255. Okay. So this even connects to Aleister Crowley. I'm not bringing him up here and the Book of the Law, but it's connected for sure. So anyway, Scheinbaum's birthday is today. Freemasonry's 307th birthday. She turns 62, I believe. Or wait, does she turn 63? Hold on. I need to. If she turns 63, that's insane. Hold on. Well, I think her birthday was. Hold on. No, she turns 62. Okay, so Claudia Scheinbaum turns 62 years old. Queen equals 62, right? Queen equals 62, right? Queen of heaven, right? Which is also connected to Venus, equals 138, like Claudia, right? Her name is Claudia. She just turned 62. She was elected on 6/2, and her name Claudia equals 138, like Queen of Heaven, which is connected to Venus. Okay, 138. And of course, Venus rose. Just typing all this in so you guys can see Venus rose 138. Okay. And so the two big numbers here are the 138 and the 255. Okay. But again, the 255 is important because of the rose connection. And so look at this. So how does this Venus rose stuff tie in with Freemasonry? Today's being Freemasonry's birthday. Well, look at this, guys. In gematria, the word Freemason in Latin equals 787. Well, 787 is the 138th prime number. And the word Master Mason equals 138. So not only does Freemasonry equals the 138 prime number, the word Master Mason equals 138. In the same cipher as Venus rose. Okay, and remember, the Venus to Earth pattern is a 13 to 8 ratio. 13 orbits for Venus, 8 for Earth. It creates a 5-fold pentagram of a rose, right? What are the chances of that, guys? So again, she's born on Freemasonry's birthday. Her name, Claudia, equals 138, like Master Mason, okay? And she's a Venus symbol, right? Venus rose, 138, rose of Venus, 138. So how does this connect, again, to Freemasonry? Because there is an order in Freemasonry known as the Order of the Eastern Star. Let me just read this. The Order of the Eastern Star is a Freemasonic appendant body open to both men and women. So why is it so important here? Because it's about open to women, okay? And we're talking about Venus and women, okay? It was established in 1850 by lawyer and educator Rob Morris, a noted Freemason. The order is based on the teachings from the Bible, but is open to people of all religious beliefs. The character building lessons taught in the order are a series stories inspired by biblical figures. The emblem of the Freemasonic organization, the Order of the Eastern Star, the symbol is complex one, is said to represent the Star of Bethlehem, symbolizing the descent of the spirit into matter, the divine into man, or even the presence of God on earth. But look at this. So not only does it represent the Star of Bethlehem, it also represents in appellation, its appellation also implies a relationship with the planet Venus. So they even state in the Wikipedia, or not in the Wikipedia, but in this article, they state that the Order of the Eastern Star, the pentagram, which Venus makes, the rose, that pentagram in the sky, Venus is also called the Eastern Star. Okay? And they refer to this symbol as the general grand chapter. Okay? And notice that the general grand chapter equals 255. Kind of like how I've been talking about how this is all tied to the Venus rose, which equals 255, Queen Elizabeth, and Claudia Scheinbaum, who was elected 255 years after the Venus transit. Okay, so Order of the Eastern Star, Venus known as the Eastern Star. This is just happens to be the order of Freemasonry that allows women, okay? Was Rosa Parks the first was Rosa Parks the first person in this order? I didn't read that, but if that's true, it makes sense. Rosa Parks. I need to look that up. I'll look that up in just a second. Hold on. So again, guys, this goes back to what happened a few days ago, right? Because we had Donald Trump, who was 28,497 days old, which is the 138th pentagonal number, and Venus rose is a 13 to 8 ratio and makes a 5-fold pentagram, just like this, right? Just like the Order of the Eastern Star, five points. And again, Donald Trump was 138th pentagonal days old on the day that this man died, okay? And again, he was all about the rose. The white rose can represent secrecy. And remember, the word secrecy equals 33 in the same cipher as Masonry, okay, and order, okay? But that's the last slide I have for you guys. But I want to go to the Order of the Eastern Star, and I want to show you how this is clearly tied to Venus, okay? So notice that members of the Order of the Eastern Star are aged 18 and older. So in order to be part of this group, you have to be 18 years of age. Okay. Also, it apparently has 10,000 chapters in 18 countries. So 18 countries, 18 years or older, okay, to be part. And the man who supposedly started this was born in the year 1818 in Boston, Massachusetts. Remember, we just had the Boston Celtics win the NBA championship a few days ago. But the guy who founded this Order of the Eastern Star was born in 1818, okay? And they are in 18 countries and 18 years or older. And so let me just read this. Members of the Order of the Eastern Star are aged 18 and older. Men must be master masons, and women must have specific relationships with masons. Originally, a woman would have to be a daughter, a widow, a wife, a sister, or a mother of a master mason. Now remember, master mason. So Venus Rose equals master mason. You see this? You see that? 138. You see how master mason equals Venus Rose, okay? Now, remember, Freemasonry equals 787 in Jewish, which is the 138th prime. But what I'm getting at here is this is all about Venus, because all the 18s, you see all the 18s? What's up with the 18? Well, look. Venus equals 18. Okay, so you have this order connecting to the Venus star, right, the pentagram, and it seems to be all about the 18, which is Venus, okay? The star, the 18, okay? It's all about women. It's the first to allow women, okay? I don't know if it's the first to allow women, but it's one of the most well-known. And then you can see that they have 18 main offices. You see this? They have 18 main offices in a full chapter. What are the chances of that, guys? Venus, 18. So I just showed you 4 or 5 different 18s connected. 18 countries, 18 or older. The guy who founded it, born in 1818. There's 18 chapters all about Venus, okay? And I mean, the 18 could also tie to other things, but the fact that Venus equals 18 and this is the order connected to women, and its star is even connected to Venus, the Eastern Star. Its symbol is literally the Eastern Star, okay? Yeah, Joseph is saying the Celtics won by 18. Oh, yeah, the Celtics won their 18th title and won by 18. Wow. So look at that. The guy who founded the Order of the Eastern Star, Rob Morris, was born in 1818 in Boston, and the Boston Celtics just won the NBA, their 18th NBA Finals by winning by 18 points. Okay, that's crazy. That connects right there. So absolutely insane. Thank you, Joseph, for that. Yeah, and then as Joseph points out, IHS, which is the Jesuit motto or the Jesuit logo, equals 18 and 2 ciphers. So that obviously connects to the Jesuits also. But Venus, being that the Venus star is on the front of their logo, essentially, the Eastern Star, equaling 18, there's a reason why they put so many 18s here, okay? And, of course, yeah, 666, 6 plus 6 plus 6 equals 18, yeah. So now let's look at this. So guess where WWE is tonight? Let me show you this. WWE Raw, Indianapolis. If I spell it right, hold on. So tonight, WWE Raw on Freemasonry's birthday. Remember, I just tied this to the wrestler Chris Benoit, who died on this day in history. And now tonight, on Monday Night Raw, June 24th, they're going to be in Indianapolis. Okay, Indianapolis, the 201 city, first of all. I accidentally spelled Indian. So Indianapolis, 201, right? 201 city. Okay, Jesuit order. But Indianapolis is also connected to the Order of the Eastern Star. So if you scroll down, see if I can find it here. Yeah, right here. The General Grand Chapter of the Order of the Eastern Star was formed in Indianapolis, Indiana on November 6th, 1876. Okay, so remember that, guys. The current form of the Order of the Eastern Star was formed in Indianapolis on November 6th, 1876. Tonight, the WWE is in Indianapolis on Claudia Scheinbaum's birthday, the woman who was just elected as a woman president. Okay, the Order of the Eastern Star is all about women, allowing women. So what happens if you go from the date of this Grand General Chapter was formed in Indianapolis to the election coming up? So watch this, guys. Remember, the election was on November 5th. Remember, the word Masonic. Let me take these words out. Hold on. Do you see how the word Masonic and Lucifer are 3 out of 4 cipher match? You see how they both equal 115? Like the election this year is on 115, like 11-5. Okay. So notice that the Order of the Eastern Star was formed on November 6th. So one day after November 5th. So how many, look at this. So that means from the founding or the establishing of the Order of the Eastern Star, the Grand General Chapter in Indianapolis, Indiana on November 6, 1876, is exactly 1776 months before the election this year. Remember, Donald Sutherland died 138 days before the election. Donald Trump equals 138. Master Mason, 138. Venus Rose, 138. All the 138s, right? So look at that. 1776 months exactly from this establishment right here to the election, okay? And that's not only 1776 months, that's of course the founding year of the United States, right? But that's also 148 years, guys. Exactly 148 years from the Order of the Eastern Star to the election. And what is that? The Morning Star, guys. Morning Star, 148. So 148 years exactly. And this whole group is based off of the Eastern Star, which is the Morning Star. And 148 is Morning Star. Okay. Now, that also ties to Donald Trump because if you add the J in his name, Donald. So notice what happens. You have Donald Trump, right? Donald Trump equals 138, like Venus Rose, like Master Mason, right? But if you add his name that he goes by often, Donald J, you get 148. So that means, look at this, guys. 148, Donald Trump, head wound. All right. So again, we tied all this to Venus Rose, the Morning Star, the star, Donald J. Trump, 148, Morning Star, 148, head wound, 148. And again, the lodge, the Eastern Star Lodge, founded exactly 148 years before this year's election. So 148, those are also important here too. And that's just and crazy that they're in Indianapolis tonight, like of all places that they could be today, it's in Indianapolis. Okay. So again, let's just go back to the beginning. Let's cover some main points, and I'm going to go to the chat for a bit. So again, today is the 307th birthday of Freemasonry, Freemason 307, ancient and accepted Scottish Rite 307. The show called Lodge 49, which equals 307 in Sumerian. Okay. And it came out exactly 307 weeks before today's 307th birthday. I mean, come on. And then Chris Benoit, the wrestler who they paid tribute to last week in WWE. Today is his 17th death anniversary. His name, Christopher Benoit, equals 307. Today is the 307th anniversary of Freemasonry. He debuted in the WWE, or he debuted in wrestling on JFK's death date, which was in 1963. And 307 is the 63rd prime, and his guy's famous move was the sharpshooter, which equals 63 and 2 ciphers. This connects to the Edmonton Oilers, the hockey team, who can win the Stanley Cup tonight. And this guy's from Edmonton. On his death anniversary, the Edmonton Oilers can win the Stanley Cup on the Edmonton boys' death date. Okay. And again, Christopher equals Freemasonry and 3 out of 4. This is all about the Revelation 12 Venus transit sign in 1769. Claudia Scheinbaum was elected at the beginning of this month on the 255th anniversary. Queen Elizabeth was born exactly 255 Venus years after the Revelation 12 Venus transit. Yeah, I think that's the gist of it, guys. But thank you guys for coming back after the original failure. I lost sound in my first stream. So let me go to your comments. Let's see what you guys have to say, because you guys always have something to say. Let's see. All right, so Emmanuel Smith says land of Indians, or simply Indian land. Yeah, interesting. India, like Kamala Harris. Yeah, Indianapolis is Circle City, and it's the crossroads of America. So that's another interesting connection to bring up. Mad Butcher. Okay, so you guys don't understand this maybe because a lot of you guys don't really follow wrestling that close. Oh, today's Messi's 37th birthday. Yeah. Hold on. Okay, so all you guys are dropping crazy stuff in the chat. So Lionel Messi, the famous soccer player, he's turning 37 today on the 307th anniversary of Freemasonry. Wow. I just need to go back because so there was a wrestler that just debuted in the WWE, and they're calling him the Samoan Werewolf, but his real name is Samuel Fatu. So let me, or no, not Samuel, Jacob Fatu. So Jacob Fatu, he's being called the Werewolf, I think. First of all, he's born on April 18th, which we've been talking about that number in connection to Crowley. So look at this, guys. So this guy, Jacob Samuel Fatu, he's born on 4/18, right? He just debuted. And remember how Trump... So look at the gematria of his name. It equals 150, 255. It's got that 255 again. I just talked a lot about this 255, okay? And he just debuted. But look at this. You guys remember the Book of the Law by Aleister Crowley, which has the 418 on the front, and it has the 93 and the 418? And just notice that the guy that just debuted, who was born on the day 4/18, like the Book of the Law, right? He has a direct 3-cipher match to the Book of the Law in Latin. It's Jacob Samuel Fatu equals in 3 out of 4, okay? And so this guy just debuted, and what Gematrinator 85 is saying, I don't know. Do you want to jump on here real fast, Derek, and just share like a part of what you have? I don't know if you're available to do that, but it might be more smooth if you'd like to do that. I don't know if you want to do that, but let me know. Because what you're sharing is crazy. Okay, sure, he says. So cool, we're gonna have Derek on for a bit. Let's see. I'm gonna leave the link. So thank you guys for sticking around. Thank you guys for coming back. Please hit the like buttons. Let's get this likes up over 100, please. Like, I know I lost a bit of likes from the first stream that went bad. So I do want to do a video about this Mad Butcher shooting because I noticed it was very connected to the bridge collapse. Today's 37 Venus years after 9/11. Are you kidding me? Oh my gosh. No way. Hold on. You guys are killing it in the Wow. So today is 37 Venus years. So that means 37 Venus years was on 6/16. That was the first one, but we're in the 37 Venus years. So that's pretty crazy. And remember, Venus is connected to the 12 stars and 37 is the 12th prime. So let me get Derek on.
What's up, Cody? Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Yep. I think everyone in the chat can also. Should
Excellent.
be able to.
Well, another great stream so far.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it. And again, some of the stuff that you shared, I helped to make some of these. I didn't even put everything I wanted to because I was kind of on a time crunch. But yeah, I'm sure you got some crazy stuff to share too.
Well, I guess on the topic of the wrestling, the last name Fatu is also 307 in Latin, just like Freemason.
Oh, okay.
And of course, this is all on the weekend that the ancient and accepted Scottish Rite is turning 307 years old. Another 307 is Fatu's father's name. Samuel Larry Noie Fatu is 307 reverse. And he's named after his father, Jacob Samuel Fatu. And what struck me about this is that the Mad Butcher shooting in Arkansas was in a small town called Fordyce, Arkansas. Now, Fordyce, well, sums to 24 like the year. Maybe that's irrelevant, but the city was named after a guy named Samuel Fordyce. And yeah, I did a video on the Mad Butcher shooting showing how Mad Butcher equals 653, which happens to also be the gematria of Samuel Fatu. But I think you mentioned the hearts earlier, right? With Owen Hart.
Yeah.
So this is all synced up to Owen Hart as well. And this all goes through NASCAR. Yesterday was exactly 301 months after Owen Hart plunged to his death at an event called Over the Edge. And his name with capital letters, Owen James Hart, is 301. And the race yesterday was called the USA Today 301 because they run it for exactly 301 laps, which also equals 301. And so it just
301 laps equals 301.
Yeah, in reverse.
Oh, wow.
So the winner of the race was a guy named Christopher Bell, which immediately reminded me of Christopher Benoit. And the name Christopher Bell is 235, like how Owen Hart died on the 23rd of May, or 23/5. USA Today 301, if you write that out, you also get 348 in reduction gematria. Well, Chris Benoit died 3,480 months after Freemasonry was founded. And when you write out Chris Benoit and Nancy Benoit, it sums to 348.
Wow.
It's pretty deep. I'm just trying to glance through some of these.
Do you want to share your screen at all, or you not have that ready?
Yeah, I don't have the post up yet.
Okay.
I know visuals are always good with this, especially with my stuff, because I kind of run through things quickly. Just to add on to what you mentioned earlier, this has been exactly 17 years since Benoit died. And in ordinal, the name Christopher Bell equals 170. Also, in standard, Owen James Hart is 1070. But that 17 years is also 204 months. And when you write out Christopher Benoit, it's 204 ordinal. There's a lot of connections. I won't go more into the race, but this is also 1,309 weeks after Owen Hart died. And you showed it earlier. Christopher, Freemasonry, 139. Yesterday's race was in New Hampshire, which is another 139. Well, then the wrestler who debuted, the Samoan werewolf, who showed up on the date of a full moon, by the way.
Yeah.
His name, Jacob Samuel Fatu, equals 1309. And it's been 1,309 weeks since Owen Hart died.
Oh, wow. That 1309. So is there, correct me if I'm wrong, maybe but is there not a rule in numbers or in this kind of stuff where if there's a number and it's like right next to in the order, it kind of, isn't there like a rule where, so for instance, all the 138s I've been seeing, considering that 139 is just one number later, is there not like somebody in my comments mentioned to me some sort of rule of numbers where, basically being right in the order of each other, it can basically be considered the same thing, or not the same, but
from what I understand, there's something called the rule of Kalel, which essentially the rule states that you can add or subtract one from any gematria value. So the only time I really mention that is when it comes to really big numbers, but I do suspect that they use it very frequently. Like if you crack open, a perfect example for me is if you crack open both standard and Latin and you write out Green Bay Packers, it's just 2 off of Freemasonry. Mm-hmm. And the Packers have the Masonic G on their helmet. So technically you could subtract one from one number and add one from the other. But, hey, those numbers are large enough where I think that might be relevant. So with 138 and 139, Freemasonry equals 139 and the 138th prime number. So there's probably something to it.
Yeah, and the fact that Master Mason also equals 138. So there's obviously something about the 138, 139 in Freemasonry, because I see those numbers a lot in both, especially now that I'm really focusing on the 138, so yeah, that's just something I was thinking about.
Yeah, I mean, it's absolutely relevant. I always urge caution because if you start saying numbers that aren't the same match each other, people are going to look at you funny. But right, yeah, I do think they're paying attention to it.
Yeah. All right, so yeah, you can keep going if you want, or
sure. Real quickly, I guess, as far as the wrestling alignments go. So this Jacob Fatu, you pointed out his name is 255. Mm-hmm. Christopher Michael Benoit and Christopher Benoit both equal 255, like Rose. We're in lunation 1255. That's the brown lunation number. So Cody, on the calculator, if you hit the moon icon to the left of the date on top, you'll see the brown lunation numbers.
Hold on a second. Yeah, so we're in lunation 1255, yeah.
Right. And even the lunation for 9/11, like 973, the World Trade Center opened in 1973. So I like to point that out also. But as far as the 255, Jacob Fatu made his debut a span of 255 days after Samuel Fatu's birthday, his father.
Oh, wow.
And then if you measure between Jacob Fatu's birthday to Chris Benoit's, it's 9,099 days. And the name Christopher Benoit is 96, 969, and 699. And we all know how they like to fart with those digits 69 upside down. So
right.
There's definitely a lot to it. I think with what you covered last week in Corpus Christi, another thing I noted in the chat is that Indianapolis equals 393. So does Colts, by the way. So does Lucas Oil, which is a stadium that just signed a contract with WWE for WrestleMania. In fact, I think they're going to have like 3 major shows at Lucas Oil now. They just announced this.
Well, that might connect perfectly with the Oilers tonight.
Ooh, yeah. Bingo. Because there's a whole lot of 393 in Indianapolis. Well, Christopher Michael Benoit equals 393. And, this whole Corpus Christi thing, I found out that Raw returned to Corpus Christi 393 weeks after Chris Benoit died.
So, really?
I mean, yeah, I'm sure there's more there too as well, but I probably filled your guys' heads with enough for now.
I mean but for me, like I think a lot of people in the chat, because a lot of people don't follow wrestling as heavy as I understood everything you just said, because like I see like the wrestling stuff all the time, but I think some of the people in my chat, they always tell me I don't even like wrestling, and but I still think that wrestling is just the place where I find like the most, like for me, it's where I like to find it's just one of my favorite things to decode. But
well, yeah, and people always want their content personalized. This is what I've discovered on YouTube over the years, and it doesn't really matter. I mean, they're doing these rituals, and I think it's important to let people know, especially when it's something that is scripted, like wrestling. It just makes more sense than anything. So, don't put too much stock in that.
That's why I like wrestling, because it's almost like a psychological like brain tease, because you have this, everyone knows it's scripted for real, like they know 100% that it's not real, but even the parts that people think are not scripted, like the random moves from one company to another, and the random, seems like a lot of these random injuries that happen just at the perfect time, that seem like they're organic to the normal audience, they're actually fit perfectly into the whole, and it's almost like they do it perfectly in order to build up more energy for Cody Rhodes and CM Punk, how they left and then they came back, and now they have even more energy than they had before. So it just, yeah.
WWE is way bigger right now than it was before AEW showed up.
Right.
And it's almost like they used that in order to boost themselves. And now WWE is selling out everywhere. I mean, it's been like decades since I've seen them have a sold out arena for Raw and SmackDown. So,
yep. And that's the thing, is they went through that period of time where all the normal wrestling fans were complaining how crappy the product was. And then you're right. As soon as AEW came along, it's almost just like, it's just like, to us, we can clearly see they use that whole thing to build a stronger brand. And even AEW itself, I wonder if they'll end up somehow like merging the two companies together one day, kind of like they did with WCW and, kind of stuff like that. That'll be interesting to see.
For sure. Yeah. And the last thing I wanted to note, as far as this Freemasonic connection, since that's the theme, is that when Chris Benoit died, it was on the 290th anniversary of Freemasonry. And when you write out Jesus, it's 29 S exception. Christ equals 290 Latin, and then Jesus Christ equals 290 reverse caps mixed. So you have, no matter how you write out his name, you get this 29 connection. And then you see Benoit equals 29. So does Samuel Fatu, coincidentally enough. And then you get a guy named after Christ, essentially, killed on that date. It's and then you have the whole fact about, I don't know if everyone knows this, but on the night, I think before he was found dead, someone at WWE headquarters updated the Wikipedia page to say that Nancy Benoit died. And, there's a chance it was a coincidence, but you add all these things in together and you realize there's some real fuckery going on, it seems.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's just so crazy how the whole Benoit thing, it just came back up all of a sudden, because I've thought about that before and like looking more into that and stuff, but then it kind of just came up in the perfect time. Once I saw the Corpus Christi thing last week, I was like, yeah, this has to be it. And then of course it's just even bigger than this whole thing you just revealed with the Samuel Fatu thing is mind blowing to me, because it makes perfect sense how they would align that.
Yeah, and I mean, the last thing I expected when I was watching the NASCAR highlights yesterday was a Christopher Benoit riddle, but it's obviously very important, because You know, the guy is lined up perfectly. Like the winner of the race, his full name is Christopher David Bell. Well, Benoit has a son named David.
Yeah.
And then you write that name out and it equals 210 and 330 reverse, which is the same as Nancy Elizabeth Benoit. He was born 210 days after Chris's birthday when he was 330 months old. And then he wins the race 33 days after Chris's birthday. Chris,
Wow.
Nancy, and Owen all equal 57, like Moon. And Benoit would have just turned 57 years old last year. And like when they started that Owen Hart Memorial Tournament, that was when Owen Hart would have been 57. So
that goes perfectly with the Rose too, because Rose also equals 57 in that same cipher, I believe.
Bingo.
So, I mean, that's and then there's Mary, and Mary equals Rose in all four ciphers, and you know I think that's all connected with what I was showing here with the female stuff, because that's such a big thing right now, because I just can't get out of my head this year with this Olympics thing. As I covered earlier in the year, the Olympics seems to be all revolving around a lady or a woman, because all the lady references in France, and then the symbol of the French Olympics is the lady that's her. It looks like a woman's hair and face in the flame, and I just keep seeing all this symbolism for it. And then this Claudia Scheinbaum thing was like, that was crazy. The whole thing with what Seven had found with the transit, and then 255. This thing right here, Queen Elizabeth being born 255 Venus years exactly, like that to me is absolutely crazy.
Yeah. I mean, I don't have much more to add than that. So
all right, well, that was perfect additions to the decode, so I appreciate it.
Cool, man. Well, I'll drop off. And
right.
yeah, thanks for having me on again.
All right, take care, brother.
All right, later.
All right, well, with I guess gonna give a big shout out to Derek again, and yeah, I love having him on, and he shared some crazy stuff that I need to look more into. But yeah, if you guys have anything else to say in the chat, let me know. I'll have my eyes on the chat. Coffee Girl says, thanks for joining, Derek. Yes, thank you, Derek. How many minutes in am I here? Hold on. So I'm about an hour in. I'm not going to get off here till I hit 100 likes, guys. So help me get to 100 before I end the stream. Joseph's saying there was a bridge collapse yesterday. Yeah, I saw you made a video about that, Joseph. I haven't had a chance to watch it, but if you guys haven't watched Joseph's video about the bridge collapse, make sure you guys go check that out. I'll take a look at it. I definitely saw that the bridge collapse from earlier this year in Baltimore was connected, very interestingly, to the Mad Butcher shooting. There's some crazy stuff connected with that, so I need to go back and look at that myself. But yeah, I'll have to watch your video, Joseph. So thanks, brother, for sharing, as usual. Yeah, Claudia Scheinbaum will probably be in the news today. I'm still waiting to see if we get some sort of story that's connected to the 307, right? The 307 anniversary. Did we get a story somewhere that has a 307? So everyone be on the lookout for a news story, even if it's a small thing. Be on the lookout for something that's connected to the number 307 or the 63, because 307 is the 63rd prime number. And again, today is Freemasonry's 307th birthday. So just to bring up this slide to end it here. This is the most crazy thing I shared in the stream, I think. You know, Lodge 49, exactly 307 weeks and before today's 307th anniversary of Freemasonry. Lodge 49 equals 307. Joseph says the shooter's name was Travis Posey, equals 128. Yep. Yep. Let me see if I can figure that out. So the shooting was on June 21st. The bridge collapse. Oh yeah, this is what it was. Okay, so remember the bridge collapse in Baltimore earlier this year. Okay, was on. Let me show you guys this. Okay. So the bridge collapse was the Francis Scott Key Bridge, right? You guys remember it was the Francis Scott Key Bridge. It collapsed on March 26th. Okay. So I want you guys to notice from Francis Scott Key's last birthday. Okay. Remember, it was the Francis Scott Key Bridge that collapsed on 3/26. From Francis Scott Key's last birthday to the shooting of the Mad Butcher was 326 days. That's the date of the bridge collapse. Okay. Now, if you go from the bridge collapse on 3/26, it was 87 or 88 days, but the 88 is interesting because remember, the bridge collapse was all about the number 128. 128 minutes or 1 hour and 28 minutes is 88 minutes. So from the bridge collapse to the Mad Butcher shooting was 88 days. Again, 1 hour 28 minutes is 88 minutes, okay? And remember, the day before this, we had the death of the 88-year-old Donald Sutherland, okay? Now, if you look, the guy who did the shooting was Travis Posey, which equals 128. Okay, remember, Travis Posey, 128. Bridge collapse, 128. The Francis Scott Key Bridge collapsed at 128, and it was connected to the Dali painting, The Bridge and the Broken Dream, which equals 128, connected to Obama's movie Leave the World Behind, which came out on 12/8. In the movie, you see a bridge collapse at I think it was 128 minutes in. I think Joseph can correct me on that. But yeah, that was all about the 128s. So it just seems like this Mad Butcher thing was very heavily connected to the bridge collapse. And I know what Joseph shared, and also what Derek shared a bit ago. I need to look more into that, but yeah, I think there's definitely something to it because yeah, and as Derek mentioned, the WWE actually debuted a wrestler who was the son of Samuel Fatu, and then you had the founder, I believe, of Fordyce was Samuel Fordyce. Yeah, Samuel Wesley Fordyce. So there's a whole riddle here that I need to look more into. By 1890, Fordyce was the largest town in the county, and on April 8th, 1908, it was incorporated in the seat of Dallas County. So Fordyce was incorporated on April 8th. That's interesting. Well, on July 5th, 1975, the Rolling Stones band members Keith Richards and Ron Wood were arrested in Fordyce. Oh. So now we have a Rolling Stones riddle. See, there's so many different riddles here. That's interesting. July 5th, 1975, the Rolling Stones members Richards and Wood were arrested in Fordyce for reckless driving. The Rolling Stones, huh? Well, that's interesting. There's definitely a stones riddle going on lately. I've had one of my friends, Maka, bringing up a lot of stone connections. So I find it interesting that there's the Rolling Stones. But what I find really interesting is April 8th, 1904 was the date of it was incorporated. And of course, you guys know on April 8th this year. So let's go from the April 8th Fordyce incorporation, 1908, to the April 8th eclipse, 116 years. All right, so it was both a leap year also. So the Great American Eclipse this year was on 4/8. Fordyce, which was where the shooting was just at, was incorporated on 4/8, exactly 116 years before the Great American Eclipse. And I believe someone mentioned that Fordyce, Arkansas. Let me look into this. I'm doing this on the fly, guys. Somebody mentioned a 307. I think it was Joseph that mentioned it. Anyways, guys, I think I'm gonna go ahead and get off here. I just wanted to kind of look into that shooting a bit on my own time because I really haven't had a chance to look into that. Besides what you guys have done, what Joseph and the rest of you guys have shared. Yeah, there's a whole Dallas riddle here. Shai says Dallas County, Dallas, Texas, Dallas Mavericks, Top Gun, shooter. Yep. There's definitely a huge riddle connected to Dallas. Absolutely. Grandmaster Albert Pike from Hot Springs, Arkansas. Yeah, that's a great point. Thank you, Shai. Yeah, if you guys would please hit the like button before I get off here, and if you guys want to support the channel, I do have a donation link. All donations are greatly appreciated. Of course, it's not even in this chat right now, so disregard that. But anyways, at least hit the like button before you head out, and thank you guys for coming back after the volume went out. And again, guys, much love to you all. And thank you, Joseph. Thank you, Derek, for coming on. Thank you, Sean. Thank you, Gematria. Thank you, Shai. Gene Spliced says wrestling equals 116. Thank you, Fig. Thank you, Robert Frederick. Jeremiah Gabbard. Thank you. Much love. Yeah, I think that's it, guys. So have a good day. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys in the next video. Take care.